All right, guys, not going to beat around the bush too much. We've all heard the news. We've all talked about it. We've talked it to death at this point. Concord is officially dead in like 2 days, and then they're going to probably retool it and make it come back free to play. That being said, Firewalk Studios, Sony's, subsidiary, this was their debut game. This was their one chance to make a good first impression. They failed miserably. They made a game for a bunch of people who don't exist, the whole, quote, modern audience, if you will. And again, it wasn't a matter of having brown people in a game being woke or DEI. It was the decision to make a bunch of weird-looking, fat, unattractive, and it's a game for nobody. It's a game where nobody wants to play it because it's a hero shooter with no heroes. Think about the lack of common sense it takes to make a game like that. We're going to make a hero shooter with nobody heroic in it. So again, Firewalk spent 8 years allegedly making this game. They swung and they missed really badly. So now we're seeing another Sony subsidiary. The studio is called Haven, putting out this game, Fairgame, that I don't think is supposed to come out for another year or two. And this article from that Park Place says after Concord, gets shut down, gamers take aim at anti-capitalist Fairgame. Yes, you read that right. Sony is putting out an anti-capitalist game because that makes a lot of sense coming from Sony. So the article says Haven Studios, a subsidiary of PlayStation Studios, announced this game with a CGI trailer back in May 2023. The trailer features a voiceover that states too much money and too much power is held by just a few people and it's only getting worse. Again, ironically, the second name on the list of billionaires in the world is this guy named, I think, Elliot Moore. Same initials as Elon Musk, so take from that what you will, but Dread Roberts pointed that out, and I think it's very ironic. The official description attached to the trailer states, "Welcome to Fairgame, your chance to rob the rich and rebalance the scales. Fairgame is a competitive, modern heist game where you team up and break into exotic locations and steal the cargo. The twist, you not only need to outsmart guards and security systems, you also compete against other teams." Again, other than, ugly characters and weird-looking, pronouns and shit, I don't know what's modern about this, but creative director Matthew LeDuc also describes the game as a fresh, modern take on the heist game. Fairgame will give you an opportunity to break the rules as a modern-day Robin Hood, a thrill seeker, or just someone who wants to collect cool loot. Again, I've heard this described as like a Zoomer game, based on the way the characters look, them trying to say it's modern, but it's also Robin Hood, and not even understanding who Robin Hood is actually robbing. It's just very, very ironic. But again, it gets much worse because of the fact that this all stems from an article and a YouTube video that they released back in 2023. You can see Jade Raymond has a link to the blog article from PlayStation where she immediately locked the replies. And it's important to note Jade Raymond is the founder of Haven Studios. And she locked the reply back in 2023 for this post, basically indicating that she knew that this wasn't going to go over super well, or at least had some premonition about it. The YouTube video that we've talked about from that Park Place article has 27,000 dislikes to 3,700 upvotes, and people are comparing this game to Hyenas, a game that I actually played part of the closed alpha for. I got in, I checked out the tutorial, I looked at the weapons, and then I saw the characters, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not playing a dude in drag, not for me. And again, very much the same kind of looking characters as Concord, and I remember at the time thinking, who designed these characters? They're hideous. Why would anybody want to play this? But Jade Raymond, to her credit, the founder of and CEO at Haven Studios, is not without a decent resume. She spent 10 years at Ubisoft. She's got a lot of time and experience, in her resume under her belt. She's got a lot of years experience in the games industry. But again, I mentioned she was at Ubisoft for 10 years. Same place that Kim Belair came from Sweet Baby Inc. I think that's worth pointing out because a lot of the things we're going to get into here very much seem very Sweet Baby Inc. adjacent, if you will. It's also worth noting that when they purchased Haven Studios for an undisclosed amount back in 2021, it was in the middle of their big buying spree. So Sony was buying up as many studios as they could to compete with Xbox, who was doing the exact same thing. It was kind of like this, game studio arms race, if you will, for their live services that they were putting in, like Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and all that. Now, the ironic thing is, less than a year later, Sebastian Puel, the co-founder at Haven Studios, a man with massive amounts of experience from working at Ubisoft, left the company. He spent 15 years with Ubisoft. Again, went in June of 2019 to go be general manager at Google Stadia, where Jade Raymond had also worked briefly. And then the two of them founded this company, and then less than 2 years later, he's like, I'm out. So no idea what happened there. It's a very interesting situation behind the scenes, but that's just another, I'd say, a foreshadowing of some doom for Haven Studios. On top of the fact that if you look at Sebastian Puel's gameography, I guess you'll say, 47 games he's credited on, including most of the Assassin's Creed games. So this man knew his shit. Losing him is a really bad sign for Haven Studios. They still have some experience. Like I said, they've got Jade Raymond, who's been around for a long time. They've got Corey May, who, despite his he-him pronouns, is a competent writer. He has done a lot of writing on some of the Assassin's Creed games, so the studio's not without talent, it would seem. But what's concerning about Fairgame is that they have this Women at Haven blog on their website, and featured in there is Kelly Hornung, who is listed as one of the head writers or lead writers on Fairgame. Now, again, I haven't seen too many red flags about Kelly per se. She's not really like a social media person as far as I can tell. Seems pretty normal. But if you go back to where she came from, Tail Spinners, I discovered them while doing research on this, is let's just say, a training service for people who want to become narrative consultants or story writers, or people who want to work on video games as a writer, people who want to do more of the, again, voice direction or editing or in-game dialogue and text. So she was mentored by Tail Spinners, of which there are currently 4 partners, one of them being Michelle Clow. And Michelle Clow is a very interesting person. If you just read her little biography here, she is a writer and narrative designer based in Vancouver, BC, co-founder and chair of the IGDA, which we'll get into in a minute, their romance and sexuality SIG. She has spoken about male sexualization and healthy, diverse fan service at multiple conferences, including Queerness and Games, PAX Dev, and the GDC Narrative Summit. Her credits include QA for Mass Effect 3, senior writer-editor for the adventure dating sim 1931 Scheherazade at the Library of Pergamum, and current work in sci-fi RPGs, mobile interactive fiction, and VR experiences. She was the lead editor on Perfect Date, and has recently been working on Destruction All-Stars, Rise Eterna, and Helheim Hassel. Even more interesting about Michelle Clow is that the conversations, the speeches, I guess you'll say, the seminars that she puts on at the GDC are all about, again, queerness and sexuality in games. Very, very disturbing but stunning and brave stuff. The GDC, of course, which hosts people such as Kim Belair, from Sweet Baby Inc., because the GDC is just completely corrupt at this point. And Michelle Clow, going back to this person from Tail Spinners, where, again, the writer for Fairgames came from, is the co-founder of the IGDA, which we talked about briefly, which is the International Game Developers Association, which is another one of these companies where you can essentially pay to be a member, and all they're about is bringing together developers at key industry conferences and in over 150 chapters and special interest groups, that's what those SIGs are, to improve their lives and their crafts. And you can even see they have their core values listed as advocacy, inclusivity, and empathy. And you could pay $1,000 for a lifetime membership, or be a member for as little as $30 if you qualify for their, quote, reduced hardship rate. It's just more of the same crap that we've seen from other Montreal-based companies like Sweet Baby Inc., where it's all a grift. It's all about saying you need us to, look appealing to all these game developers and to look appealing to the investors and everything else. And we'll teach you how to be a good, inclusive person. So yeah. I'm going to say right now that Fairgame is shot. There's no chance. They're going to completely flop. And once we start seeing the dialogue coming out from people like Kelly Hornung, who's writing for this game, again, with her pedigree, with the years of experience I'm sure that she has, it doesn't matter, because if, again, she's been infected by these people at Tail Spinners who are also GDC speakers, who also have things like the IGDA that they co-founded, it's too late for this game. It's going to be toast. It's going to look worse than Concord. I have 100% believe that. But I'm a believer right there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this. I appreciate you guys for hanging. I know this was kind of a doozy, a lot of information in this one, but I will catch you later. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.